right, welcome everybody. 'Twas a couple of days before Christmas. All through the house, all the creatures were stirring. No, all the creatures weren't stirring. How's it go? None of the creatures were stirring. Well, except for me and some aberrant reflections, courtesy of directsun. We're here. We are stirred. Thanks to directsun for sending this to me. I want to just for those. I think I mentioned it on the stream yesterday, but I know different folks watch different streams. So when I don't remember if I reached out to them originally or they reached out to me about their other earlier adventure. I'm gonna say I was dubious, maybe is the right word, because the things I usually look at when I see an adventure and it says puzzle dungeon or puzzle adventure and video game influence is uh, not sure it's my jam. Um, so I was kind of like, oh, I'll take a look at it, but I don't know, and I had visions in my head of you're going to collect little weapons and there's going to be cracks in the wall you're going to put bombs into. I don't know. I really wasn't sure, but I really enjoyed that dungeon. I think it is an amazing adventure. And I was just shocked and surprised in the most positive way possible about it. So a few days ago, Directsun reached out and said, "Hey, you want to take a look at the next one, which is just coming out? Here it is." So here it is. So thanks to Directsun for thinking of me once again. Let me look at this. I don't say this all the time, but sometimes I reach out to people for stuff. Sometimes people reach out to me to ask me if I'd like to look at something. However, it ends up working out. I haven't read it. I haven't looked at it. Everything is impromptu, off the cuff as I go on the channel. So nobody has any kind of creative or control over what I say. No one's been promised good things, bad things, or other things. And of course, I don't even know what I'm going to say until I've read it. So it's all happening live. So there it is. And I'll set, and I will definitely, I will put I will properly flag it on YouTube. It doesn't give me the option of flagging something as promotional, but I'll flag the stream after the fact. Every once in a while I forget to, but I try to do that all the time to be wary, but that's kind of the deal with that. So here we are, Aberrant Reflections. Krister says, shaken, not stirred. Exactly. All right, so here we have Aberrant Reflections. Now, in the materials, you get a few things in the bundle if you download it from, say, Drive-Thru RPG. There's a handouts. We get this document here, which is the main PDF, and there's also a player map, a referee map, and a wraparound cover. So just so you're aware, this isn't the only thing you get, but I'm going to primarily be going through this document. So we have the cover, we get part of a map, we get the other part of the map. I just want to look here. And this is a nice map. I always like when a map doesn't get. I sometimes I'm of two minds. Sometimes when maps get into really trying to be not abstract, but giving it kind of a physical, trying to be really a physical representation, because sometimes they can't fit everything in there, and then they have to make kind of judgments, and sometimes then you start looking at it saying, well, is this not really in the description, or it's there but it's not in the, you're looking at like, which is the source of truth? Is it the room description or is the map? But what I do like is when a map that isn't necessarily, and I don't know if this is supposed to be everything physical or not, but I do like these, at least what I perceive this kind of map to being, which is a map that gives you some of like the high points. I don't know, it's like a stylized sort of a mix between just you're getting with your old school flat, what is it, like green or blue background, and just a few markings for things, to something trying to be kind of super ultra kind of realistic sort of thing. The kind of 5th edition style maps, I forget what the guy's name, Mike Schley kind of maps, to these where it gives you, I feel like gives you some indication, like here having these kind of, what I'm guessing are some kind of mirror or other slick surface walls. And of course the module is called Aberrant Reflections, so it makes sense, and we can see several of those in place. Some other things I like that, but it's not trying to give me some kind of exact thing about these stairs, presumably, or that. So I like that kind of mix, especially when it's something that is a feature that is important, that you can kind of highlight it on the map to see it. So just looking at this, we've got an everlasting flame brazier, I guess, Hashara egg, a flesh golem, a headless flesh golem, we got our doors, a locked doors, statues, Aberrant Pits. I like the page number there. And then a glowing fissure. I also like that the rooms have names. I always wonder why more times they don't do that. I mean, I imagine the answer is because you run out of names. In a smaller dungeon, though, it makes sense that you could call this a treasure room. If you're doing some kind of mega dungeon, you might have 5 treasure rooms, and so maybe it doesn't make as much sense. But when you can name rooms, especially if that name can be kind of thematic, and for me as a GM, can give me even just reading these names give me some kind of inspiration. I think it's helpful. And on the other side here, we've got, let's see, Brilliant Prison, The Teller's Den, Glowing Grotto, Claustrophobic Flesh Tunnel. Flesh tunnels. Liminal Hallway, a tomb, a cluttered workshop, a hidden crypt, and a balcony. Oh, I see. In this arrow. So the statuary is over here. Okay. Aberrant Reflections. This is version 1.4 of the PDF. Puzzle, dungeon, role playing, adventure module for low level characters. Compatible with BX, old school, and modern fantasy rules with minimal conversions by directsun Games. Jacob Fleming did the cover art, which is excellent. Cartography by Old School Jelly. Excellent. Content warning. Aberrant Reflections contains elements of body horror. Depictions of such horror can be removed or happen off screen without negatively impacting the adventure. Talk with your players beforehand about using safety tools in your game. Excellent. All right, let's get down to it. So we have a table of contents, and there is also I'm in full screen mode on this PDF, so you can't see it, but the PDF also has, or at least it came up in Acrobat, has a table of contents. Are all these clickable? Yes, they are. Nice. All right. So let's now. Oh, so one other last thing. In ages past, I used to try to read every paragraph. I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to read the things that I think are highlights and are interesting, and give kind of show the character of the in this case adventure. Things like this, the timelines I think are fun because they give us a sense of the kind of the context in which this is taking place. If you see something, if you are in the chat, this doesn't help you if you are not in the chat. If you're reading this, read it. If you're reading, if you're watching this later, sorry, I picked what I picked, and there's nothing you can do about it. But if you're in the chat and I skip over something that you think is vitally important, please let me know. So the timeline, we have a picture of a T-Rex or something approaching a T-Rex, and some other, I forget the names of those dinosaurs that have the kind of fan. Looks like I have a sail on his back. Eons ago, a star streaked across the sky and struck the horizon. Reality wrenched apart, birthing 2 new worlds, the mundane and the aberrant. Risen from the hideous darkness of the aberrant, intelligent insectoids called Hashara studied the fallen star in their unearthly temple. Their meddling awakened a cosmic scourge called the Fallen, an all consuming plague that ravaged the aberrant and transformed the Hashara into little more than primal beasts. Decades ago, the wizard Ekvius discovered the Temple of the Fallen Star and rebuilt it for his own research. Eventually, the parasitic plague of the Fallen spread to the mundane world. Ekvius and his followers disappeared. The temple was sealed and forgotten, along with its secrets. 1 month ago, witless adventurers found and reopened the temple. Now, fortune seekers from all over come to plunder the temple between worlds and gaze into its aberrant reflections. Witless, you say. Adventurers, you say. Oh, let's see. directsun says, might want to go to do 2-page scrolling with cover to get the full spread view. All right, I can do that. Let's see. I'll just have to leave the pleasant view. Whoops. Nope. All right, let's just exit out this for a second. Let's see. He says to go to. Now let's go back to. Is that? No, I think it gave me the kind of the same. Anyway, but now I can't see the whole thing. Hold on a minute. I think I might need to go back to the other view. I'll just have to. Oh, scrolling with cover. Oh, page delay, show cover page and 2-page view. Oh, maybe that will work. Hold on a minute. So I think I just want 2-page view, but with that. Right. And now I can go to full screen mode. Oh, okay. Yeah, look at that. All right, much better. So now we get the map. If you want to see the map and it's without being cut in half. Excellent. Thank you, directsun, for that note. Okay. Ooh, that's yeah. I learn new things every day. I'll have to use this kind of formatting going forward. Okay, we got through the timeline. Referee notes the aberrant is an alternate dimension that exists parallel to the mundane world. Aberrant mirrors, these are mirrors that reflect the aberrant, allowing it to be seen from the mundane world. Music and rhythm cause the mirrors to wobble and shimmer. They act as portals between worlds that remain open for a few seconds after the screech of a hashara or the chime of the bell of world polyphony. Ooh, I like that. Remember that the aberrant needs to be lit in order to see it through the mirror or with your own eyes. Aberrant needs to be lit in order to see it. Does that mean lit on their side, or you have to have a torch on your end? I guess we'll find out. Encounters. So we're going to check for encounters every 20 minutes of in-game time, or if the PCs linger or make noise. So that's once every 2 turns. The temple's golem janitor, Emil, or Eamil, I'm thinking it's email, will show up soon after the PCs break anything or make a significant mess. Email doesn't need to be hostile, but they will certainly be disappointed. I can see. What if he showed up with a broom and a pail and just shoved it at the PCs like you broke it, you clean it up. Puzzles and goals. Puzzles in this adventure involve one or more of the following: using mirrors to see the aberrant, manipulating objects in the aberrant, retrieving objects from the aberrant. Remember, the obstructions and obstacles in the aberrant affect items that interact with the aberrant, like the phase gauntlet and the phase key. Though there's no predefined story, one quote unquote end goal is recovering aberrant loot from the treasure room. Here's one way to achieve that: use the phase key to unlock the door to the armory, then use the phase gauntlet to flip the lever in Demon Maw. Guide the missing flesh golem from intangible storage to the wheel in the hub. Ring the bell of world polyphony in the toll room in order to travel between worlds, and then profit. All right, so a lot of things in there you got to figure out. Well, a lot. Four. I don't think the party ought to figure out profit. Adjudicating solutions. So I guess, well, let me just skip. Let me go back to this one real quick. So obviously the PCs can come in and just mess around with this. But what you could do if you wanted to add this into your game world and your existing campaign is to have somebody require something that's in that treasure room. There's something local lord wants it, or your local wizard, whomever your benefactor, your faction, whatever. There's something in the treasure room that they need. And so that gives you just a goal if you want to have it. Presumably, there are probably some other stuff in here you can set a goals, but that's kind of an easy one. Hey, we need to get this thing out of here. Unfortunately, it's stuck in the aberrant. Now you need to go in this place and therefore figure out this puzzle to get the thing out of there. And this is watered down apple cider for the working man. Adjudicating solutions. PCs can try anything, encourage out of the box solutions, let PCs attempt an idea if it has even a chance of success. In playtesting, one group never retrieved the phase gauntlet at all. They manipulated objects in the aberrant through a corpse attached to the phase key. That's clever. PCs may try to tail a hashara by moving through mirrors to travel to the aberrant. Precise timing and the logistics of getting back to the mundane world would keep this plan challenging and fun. Hiring a score of men and donkeys to turn the wheel in the hub is an option to access the toll room. This still takes time, money, and coordination. Also, email will not be pleased if one of those donkeys makes a mess of their floor. Poor email. Email, I think, is just going to have a lot of issues. Remember, wandering encounters that might be triggered as a result of loud noises or time spent trying a solution. So I always love the play testing notes, and I really wish that more creators would put their play testing notes in. I just think that they're always handy to read. They're always interesting to read, and they can inspire. Okay, so on to special items. We have the Bell of World Polyphony, the thimble-sized bell that, when rang, causes nearby aberrant mirrors to act as a portal, as portals between worlds for a few seconds. Bright cap mushrooms. They shed steady violet light. We have the everlasting flame braziers with real colored flames that don't die unless the brazier is moved. Lemon Magic's cleaning solution, fresh scented grease cutter cleaner that wilts the fallen. Lichgate, a flamberge that traps its wielder's soul upon their death. Oof. The soul communicates audibly and can shed light as a torch. Currently contains the soul of Artemis Gray, a wannabe hero poser that's scared of the dark and protests the sword being sheathed or dimmed. You doth protest too much, Artemis Gray. Phase Gauntlet, black iron gauntlet that simultaneously interacts with objects in both worlds. And then the Phase Key, the black iron key that simultaneously interacts with objects in both worlds, also unlocks the door between the armory and the liminal hallway. Twin tomes bound in elven flesh, text written in one of these two identical books appears in the other. Oh, that's nice. I think I've seen, where have we seen that? That's a cool idea. I think it's been, I want to say, maybe it was a Matt Colville thing. I think in his, whatever the name of his campaign was, he had something like that where you could write this thing and, or was it a pouch? Maybe it had this like diplomatic pouch. You could write a message, put it in there, and it would go to the other, whoever, someone else who had kind of the other matching pouch or something. I don't know. Or it was, you could send it to somebody and it would go. It was kind of a neat concept. A little too high magic-y for my personal usage, but still fun. And then there are passages you could read of that were written in there already. I'll just read one. I'm turning into one of those nightmarish bugs. Their bite is not fatal, but it's a fate worse than death. That's a nice little hint of what could come. Creatures. Email the mirror shard golem. Made of compacted shards of mirror, molded and given sentience for janitorial duties. I mean, poor guy. He's morose and dislikes messy guests. He's got dirt sense and he can breathe fire, and also carries the key to the cluttered workshop. So here we have the Fallen, which we'll probably be reading about a lot. So I want to give these guys their fair shake. They're fleshy, clinging masses of reaching arms, cooling mouths, and leering eyes. They're flaccid until food approaches. They can absorb creatures that enter its space in a frenzied slurry of carnage. A doppelganger of the creature is vomited forth moments later. Yuck. And their weaknesses are they slow burn. While burning releases acrid smoke and hideous wails that attract Hashara. And then you can also get rid of them with Lemon Magic's cleaning solution. They may appear to die, but they regenerate in 1d6 times 10 minutes after being burned or wilted. I said doppelganger, but it's a doppelgooper. Haha. The doppelgooper is a gooey, imperfect clone of a creature absorbed by the Fallen. Believe they are the original creature. They have the same memories and abilities. Their form is viscous. They have extra eyes and mouths in places they shouldn't be, and they melt over 2d6 hours faster if the situations are stressful, culminating with a violent transformation into an Ooble Fallen. And then an Ooble Fallen is a speedy blob of mismatched body parts and teeth driven by primal hunger. All right, so finally, I kind of like this. It's almost like you have the life cycle of the Fallen. So you have the Fallen, which is a fleshy, clingy mass. Then it consumes somebody and spits out the doppelgooper, which then becomes an Ooble Fallen, which then becomes, if I guess if they're able to feed, it comes into a Fallen. So there you have the circle of life. Hero says, that's the stuff of nightmares. It really is. It really is. The Hashar are those insectoid creatures. We have flesh golems, ghouls, tentagouls. This is a ghoul with, I guess, long, paralyzing, suction cup-laden tentacles. And then Cecil. All these horrors. And then Cecil, who was once a gregarious thief in an adventuring party called the Visionaries, but is now a doppelganger. Aw. Poor Cecil. His party ditched him in the statuary. He's not sure why. The rest of the Visionaries are being devoured by ghouls in the hidden crypt. Well, I mean, I don't know. Is being a doppelgooper a fate worse than undeath? I don't know. All right, for the players, I'm going to. Okay, I like this symbology. So that kind of purple flame means the area is lit by in the aberrant, and then the kind of wheel, or no, that's I think that's a lemon. Area is immaculate and smells faintly of citrus. And then features in the aberrant are noted in purple. All right, that's good. That's good to know. So you don't want to look at this you want to look at this in a color monitor. Don't turn it to black and white. And presumably, if you're going to print this off, if you buy the PDF and you want to print it off, you're going to need your color. Maybe if you print out black and white, the purple stuff would be of a lighter. It would have slightly less ink than the darker stuff. Maybe it would help, but you probably want to print it out something that's got color. All right, let's look at a couple of sections here. Oh, I always like the little map. Oh, I love the little maps. And by little maps, I mean here we have, so we had the main map that was inside the cover, but here we have almost a section map. And I like this too. This is a nice touch. So this one has several, so it shows the room that we're talking about here, the veiled hatchery. Then also shows some adjoining hallways and rooms. Oh, and look at that. Thank you, including the name of the rooms they're connecting to and the page numbers. Oh, bless you. Bless you, bless you, bless you. And then finally, the nice note is they've lightened the coloring, or they've put, I'm guessing that they put a box, or I don't know. There's essentially a, there, what's the word? It's like frosted. They frosted out the other room so that the room you're in is kind of feels bold, and then just in a much lighter tone background kind of tone of the other one. So you keep in focus the room you're in, but you also see the rooms that are around you with page references. So if you need to quickly, something happens, you need to quickly think, like, oh yeah, they came from the hub, bam, page 15. Oh, that's happening, and let me see what's going on in the treasure room, bam, page 13. I like it very much. Overlay. Yeah, an overlay. I was gonna say, something like Photoshop, you could put a box, fill it with white, and then set the opacity to, 70 and lay it there. Something like that. But yes, they've been just given a gentle frosting to just put it in the background. Ian says reduced opacity. Yeah, that could be it too. Reduced opacity. However you want to call it, but it's nice because it just keeps the one you're in bold, but still gives the information. And having the references is wunderbar. All right, here we have some box text here. Green light flickers across an alabaster statue flanked by mirrors on the north and south walls. So as I mentioned, I'm not going to go through every room historically. Christopher said they would call it grayed out. Yeah, I usually think of the, yeah, I guess grayed out would probably work too. I don't know. I don't know the I don't know the proper terms. And then Deviate says that they love how the image itself has purple. Oh yeah, yeah, that's cool too, right? And so here we, because, oh, I didn't even think about that, but see, we have, remember, purple is stuff that's lit in the aberrant, and not only is that noted in the map in terms of the stuff in purple, but we also get it in the actual image. Yeah, that is a really nice touch. So in this case, so we'll read this one because this one's gonna seems like it has a puzzly part, or at least it's the first time that the party. Well, maybe it's not the first time. Let me see. Maybe I should go to the. Let's go to one of the rooms. Let me go find a room that might be the first room we'd actually come into. Where is the entrance to this bad boy? Hatchery. The hut. The. How do we get in here? Where do we get in here? Let's see. Looking. Where is the? Where would we think we get in? I'm guessing opens trapdoor to the balcony. I don't think the balcony. White light from the lich. Da-da. Somebody help me. Where's do you think with the first room we would enter into? I don't see something that's marked as an actual entrance, but I could also miss it because that happened on another map where I was like, "Where is the entrance?" And I was just missing it. Hatchery is the entrance. Okay. Oh, it is the entrance. Okay. All right. Cool. So how do you get? So direct sun. How do you get into the hatchery? Where's the entrance from the hatchery? So yeah, mirrors. Oh, it's here. Adoi. Okay, so the stairway. All right. I think the only thing I was missing is like the note of, okay, you've come down the stairway. 'Cause I think I was just thinking, for some reason I was just imagining this goes somewhere else. But I got you. So presumably there's something up top, which could be anything you want. And then yes, Krister, I had missed the stairway. My bad. Yep. Has a low page number. It does have a low page number. That's always a clue. Look for the lowest page number. Well, it doesn't always work because sometimes people will number their dungeons in other ways. You can't always trust it. But in this case, we got the spiral stair. So we're presuming that the on the surface you've gotten to something, and then down below you go down some staircase, then you end up in this room. All right, so this is the first room. The alabaster statue is a robed wizard holding a thimble-sized bell facing west. Engraving Equius shows us the way between worlds. The plinth shows a secret compartment. It opens when the statue is rotated to face north. And I think here we can see in the aberrant side, or at least in the illustration, you can see that hidden compartment. Inside is a gold bee brooch studded with diamonds. It animates when beckoned and performs one small request before turning to worthless coal. The statue faces north in the aberrant. Its plinth contains an open, empty compartment. Yep. So here they were able to rotate it and then um, get the compartment open, but it's empty. Let's see. There is a hashara. I guess there's just one in the room. So the mirrors, we have mirrors on both sides. Oh, did I miss the note on the page previous? Oh, I did. There it is. Sorry about that. Yep. So because I skipped over it thinking it was for the player. So getting here just to put a pin in it since I goofed up on that. In the center of a dried up lake, a set of rough marble stairs plunge into the earth. 10 minutes descent. The PCs arrive at the temple's entrance, the veiled hatchery. Okay. So you through a dried lake, down the stairs into here. So now we've got the statue with we can see over here how it's been rotated, showing us this shows us the relationship between the aberrant and the mundane. I presume in some cases it may even work in reverse, where maybe the mundane would show something, but the aberrant, you could have the kind of reverse situation, but it kind of gives you the idea that these are sort of similar, but then they obviously are different. It's not a simple reflection because they obviously don't match up all the way. The south mirror reflects the mundane room as normal, while the north mirror reflects the aberrant, right? Because this is one mirror, and then what we can't see on the other side here is that other mirror. The PCs have no reflection. The room is littered with rubble and dirt. The alabaster statue faces north instead of west. Because remember, in purple, these are the things that are in the aberrant. So PCs don't have a reflection in the aberrant, and in the aberrant, it's filled with rubble and dirt, which we can also see there. The statue faces north, which we've got here. A 3-foot tall vein streaked egg glistens in the corner, which is here shown on the map. And I think we could see it right there. Egg is the hashara inside, senses nearby creatures. PCs lingering for 20 minutes cause the egg to start hatching. Jolts and cracks at regular intervals, leaks green fog cloaking the floor. The hashara stalks its prey through the aberrant mirror, but will only screech and attack PCs that dawdle or provoke it. All right, so that's kind of an eerie thing when you see this start to crack and this creature emerges out of there. That's really a cool moment. And I like that it's a little bit of a ticking clock because you probably don't want to have those things wandering around. And I guess they can pass through the mirrors too, right? But maybe this one won't come through. And then if we leave here, we've got two choices. They can head to the treasure room or they can end up in the hub. I really like these illustrations. Man, the use of the color to show off the different sides is really nice. Gold light pours from a full-length mirror overlooking a dais. The mirror has a fortune. The mirror has a fortune or shows a fortune of coins, a fortune in coins and treasures. The dais is bare in the mundane world, but in the aberrant is stacked with treasure, including lots of gold coins, some brains, in a glass aquarium, painting of a sea nymph, a stoppered bottle with a gin inside. Then we get some stats for the gin. So, of course, the question is going to be, well, how do you get this stuff out of the aberrant? One thing I didn't notice does the statue, is that bell? I guess that bell is just part of the statue. So I was wondering if they were already, that was that bell of, I forget what the name of the bell is, but I'm guessing that's not. It's just a representation of the bell. Which I guess you see, because in the toll room, it looks like there is the bell of world polyphony. There it is, right in front of my face. So here we go. So here we have two rooms, and so the little boxed map shows both the room over here, the treasure room, and then also the toll room. So the mirror, the thimble is actually on the aberrant side of the mirror, and it also says if the wheel in the hub has not been turned, a massive stone slab blocks the exit. So so here we have some of those connectivity puzzles where we have to do stuff in one room to open up stuff in the other room, hence the kind of puzzle, the puzzly aspect into the hub. So here we have this big wheel in the hub, and then here we have on the aberrant side, or maybe it's just an illustration of what could be. Let's see. So an enormous wheel. Oh, there are mirrors. Okay, so we can see the aberrant side here. Enormous wheel is encircled by runes engraved on the floor. In the aberrant, the ceiling is aglow with constellations from millennia ago. The wheel is of impossibly heavy stone with 6 iron handles, and then in the aberrant, weighty chains connect to a massive stone slab blocking the north passage in the aberrant. Turning the wheel lifts the stone slab, allowing aberrant items to pass. There are runes in the mundane world, and then there are flesh golems in the aberrant, each one standing on a rune except for southeast, which, as we could see in the illustration, is empty. The runes engraved on their chests match the rooms they stand atop. So presumably, you might want to figure out, well, one is missing. Can we find it? Can we get it? Can we do something to complete the cycle? Christopher says they really like how there seems to be illustrations of each or maybe some of the rooms. Makes it a lot easier to describe them. Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, it's great. It's almost something that I would say, if not completely necessary, is it's really handy here because we have these two worlds and they have these different. So we want to, we want to be able to see it, and having, like Christopher says, having these having these two illustrations we kind of look at can show us like, okay, this is going on. Not that you couldn't do it without them, but yeah, I agree. It's a nice visual aid, and the use of the color purple to set everything off, both in the text and in the illustrations, is really nice. A nice touch. So we have a collapsed hallway, the armory. We can see in the mirror what's the metal gauntlet, a locked door, collapsed hallway, empty door frame. In the coffer, in the is empty, but if anyone starts poking around, they feel the form of a metal gauntlet. And then in the aberrant, that is a phase gauntlet, and that allows you to act. So once you have the phase gauntlet, if you can figure out how to get it out, then suddenly you'll be able to interact with stuff in the aberrant without leaving the mundane. The liminal hallway with the everlasting flame brazier. Let's see, where is so here we are here in the little map. We can see here's the liminal hallway. There's the armory, and there's the collapsed hallway, all the things that were mentioned. The doors, so in the empty door frame on the aberrant side, it's locked from this side and stops aberrant items from passing. It opens with the phase key. So you can open the empty door frame with the phase key, and then the mirrors show that the lock shows a locked door instead of an empty door frame. That's cool. It's almost like it's a neat thing to shoot for showing kind of hidden things. Here you have an empty door frame, but if you look through the mirrors, you see that it's a locked door. So you might that would get you to think about, well, what does it mean? Is it, if we do something over there, does it change the nature of it over here, or how it, what the corresponding thing is? Into the tomb, black curtain and liminal hallway obscures the passage south. We've got some coffins. We got a gate platform. And then again, I just love the in the purple setting off what we see in our world from what we see in the aberrant, and the phase key is here. And there we see an image of the phase key. And then in the aberrant, there is a desiccated corpse in heavy armor, still wearing their leather backpack. Backpack is firmly tied shut. It contains 50 feet of rope, 3 flasks of oil, and the phase key. Aha, that's where the phase key is. The hidden crypt. This is maybe the only room, these are the balcony too. These rooms don't have any mirrors, so that's cool. So you get some I would say ordinary, quote unquote, completely mundane rooms. The hidden crypt is, I guess, where that's where that guy's poor group ended up, right? The visionaries. 5 ghouls and a tentacle, so that's not an easy challenge. And then we have the balcony where there's a corpse that lies atop a glowing flamberge. The Lich Gate clutches a massive leather-bound book, one of the twin tomes, and that's I guess that's our buddy. Oh no, that's a different guy. What was his name? I forget. I'm not going to go back and find it. I like those characters and weapons and things and different. And that's something I like about having kind of intelligent swords and items and things. You can give them a little personality. It's a way of almost how I like having hirelings for the same reason. You get to inject a little personality and have a little fun in a moment that might just be the party. Get kind of the same dealio with having an intelligent type item. Marble staircase into the statuary, which is over here. A gate tile, no floor tile in the aberrant, just a marble staircase leading down to the balcony, which means that we can see, oh, there might be something hidden here because we could see in the aberrant it's open and ours it's shut. And then we get some different statues. Oh, interesting. With some different, they're facing different directions depending on if you're in the mundane world or in the aberrant, except for this one. Our leader's facing west in both situations. If each statue is rotated to face the direction of its reflection in the aberrant, a gate tile swings open like a trapdoor and leads to the stairs on the balcony. And we've seen this before, right? It was demonstrated in the very first room, the statue facing one way in the aberrant, facing one way in the mundane, and now you've taken that same, presuming if they figured that one out, then they can see these other situations where statues are facing different directions and match them up. So you're creating a pattern, and then you get to have fun with that pattern. Let's see, we had the cluttered workshop. It's got a hole in the floor. Email is away. They carry the key. Except for the 2 in 6 chance the email is actually here and brewing more of their cleaning solution or crafting glass bric-a-brac. Water encounters here are always email. Makes sense. And the bric-a-brac, nice little D10 roll for what kind of things, such as maybe an upturned wheelbarrow with a giant rat doppelganger underneath, a mop, slop bucket, and dirty rags, perhaps some glass horses of various sizes, or 200-pound crates filled with silver sand used to create aberrant mirrors. That would be an interesting trick to learn. Imagine if you could learn to make aberrant mirrors. Does email accept apprentices? We have a lemon tree. A mirror reflects bright light over the tree. The lemons are safe to eat and delicious, but have tentacle-like limbs that writhe when the lemon is picked, cut, or juiced. Yeesh. Blinding white light reflects from a 1-foot diameter hole in the floor. It originates from the fallen star. Okay, that's on the aberrant side. That's cool. And then we got this cleaning basin filled with cleaning solution. The demon maw. We're going to be getting to the flesh tunnel. Nice. The demon maw is over here first, and then the flesh tunnel. So we get a demon mirror, we get a demon face in the aberrant, and then the insectoid, those creatures, carvings thereof, rather, bowing in reverence to a glowing orb. And then the demon face, but in the aberrant, there's a lever in the mouth that opens or closes a portcullis, which I'm guessing is right here. Now we get to the claustrophobic flesh tunnel. Is it really made of flesh? That is the question. Or is that just a descriptive? And a fleshy mass of tissue and limbs clings to every surface of a rough, narrow shaft. So I guess it is. And that's gross. And I like it. The fleshy mass is, let's see, within the fleshy mass there's a fallen that jolts into action as the pieces approach, pulsing, reaching, and cooing. Yuck. All right, into the laboratory. The west door is stuck. Fallen blocks the entrance from the south. Okay, so is the fallen here, and this is what's going to come run up and get you if you're coming down the tunnel. But then if you've hit the laboratory from another angle, then it's blocking you, potentially. Get some books. Now we're into the glowing fissure. Oh, wait, we have the aberrant pit. 20-foot-long pit fills the width of this hall. At the bottom, 10 feet down, lies a raspberry brooch accented with pigeon blood rubies. It staves off hunger as long as it's held. That's a nice touch. Christopher says, I get the impression that there are quote-unquote rules that you can learn through exposure to these rooms so that you over time learn and become better at meeting the challenges of the dungeon. Yes, I think that's the idea, right? You have these, what I call in my Dungeon 23 document, I call motifs. You have a motif, it means something, and as you're figuring out the motif, suddenly you'll be able to unlock things. So one of them is the position of the statues. That's a motif, right? The statues, when they match positions, that tends to do something. So you can have fun with that. And you can also play against it. You could have something where maybe in some room there's a trap that opens up when you match the statues, or the statue's already matched, and then you have to close something. You have to undo that matching to close or open something else. So you can have fun with the relationships. But yeah, you want to set up the fact that, hey, there's meaning between this thing and some function or nature, something else. And then you develop them and you repeat them over time. And then whether the party gets to the first, they figure out in the first room that thing, which they might, but they might not, or they figure out in another room, then they're going to want to come back to those other instances and say, oh, wait a minute. Back in that room, there was a statue. We didn't turn that one. We should turn that one or whatever. Um, so yeah, I think that's the idea, right? It's part of the whole, I think, concept in the sense of the puzzle in a puzzle dungeon, or in this case, like Seer's Sanctum was the first one, and then this one is having these elements, these things you can pick up on symbology and whatnot, and you can start putting it together. But the thing is, what I like about it is it doesn't pull you out of the game. And I've joked about the room where you come into, or you have to. There's a Sudoku that you have to figure out to move on to the next room, right? And the Sudoku has nothing to do. It's like here's a thing. Now we're gonna play Hangman, and if you can do the Hangman, then the door will open. Whereas these are all physical. They're in the space. You are figuring out in the same manner, kind of your character would be figuring it out. It all kind of fits up, and then it actually has physical presence, as opposed to something that just doesn't seem to really have any bearing on anything. Like what is this? Why does the necropolis of the mad vampire have a Sudoku on the floor? No reason. It's just a puzzle, right? It's what I like about it is there's a theme and the puzzle fits with the theme. In this case, the theme is the idea of this reflections, where we have these two realms and they reflect each other, and then in some ways they don't, and that's figuring out how to, almost like you're bringing the worlds into and out of alignment. If you have everything match up, then something will change to make kind of the worlds match up better, and sometimes you need to potentially undo that, but it all fits within that theme. It's all of a theme. All right, glowing fissure. Violet light streams from a narrow fissure in the wall, and the steady glow broken by veiny flesh and piercing eyes dangling from the sides of the crevasse. That's slightly gross. And then we have bright cap mushrooms. We can see here I don't know, I don't want to keep reiterating it, but in the images we have the purple shows off what's in the aberrant as opposed to what's in the mundane, and then also in the illustrations for the rooms, which is excellent. Taryn says that Fleshy Mass is their favorite New England town. Yep. So that's the fissure, which is right, I guess, right here, and then the grotto. Got more of those eggs for those critters, the hasharas. We got a mimic. They've added a mimic into the mix. So the large chest in the mundane, surrounded by malformed hunks of twisted iron, gold, and silver. Ooh, those are worth some chunk of change. The chest is a mimic that grabs creatures with its long, sticky tongue and swallows them whole. Oh, so this is a nice touch, right? So here you have the I'm going to guess that the malformed hunks of twisted iron, gold, and silver are basically the stuff that the mimic has spit out. So you approach the chest. And I think this is really nice because often with the mimics, they're just kind of set up to just sit there and be, perfectly, I guess, innocent until they're touched or until some spells cast. But this one, at least you can get a sense of, okay, there's the chest, but then there's these things next to it. Looks like, and you could even, if you wanted to, have some fun with how you describe these malformed hunks. Do they seem kind of chewed or almost melted, or however they seem, almost poop like, if depending on how I don't know how the mimic's digestive system works, if it ends up spitting it out or poops it out or whatever it does, secretes it out in some other way. But here's that stuff. Now maybe you think, oh cool, that's great, but you might also think, wait a minute, if we have a treasure chest right here that seems to be in perfect shape, why is there iron, gold, and silver? And maybe you think iron, I don't care about the iron, but why did someone dump some malformed gold and silver outside the chest? Might give you a little pause. So it's nice because it gives you just a little hint that this thing is maybe not what it seems like, because something doesn't make sense. In this case, if you have a perfectly good treasure chest, why would you have lumps of gold and silver not in the chest? The teller's den. How am I doing on time? I'm doing all right. We get the teller's den. It's got a cauldron. This one actually has no aberrant in there. So this is you get a nice little break from the aberrant in here. There's an emaciated corpse that Isaac the clairvoyant is a ghoul that is bound in this room by magic and cursed with intelligence. Oh, interesting. So he can tell you some things. So he can come in here and get some information, which includes potentially how to cure a Hashara bite, how to kill the fallen, how to travel to and from the aberrant, how to get past the stone slab and out of the toll room with the bell. So this is nice. So, and it's a nice touch because if you have a group who is struggling and maybe they're not figuring out the stuff, but they're being thorough, they're not giving up and running away, then they can come in here and they have a chance to maybe ask some questions and get some information. Drexel says, "Why is this chest winking at me?" Yeah, that's another another tip. If the chest winks at you, it might be a mimic, or it may just like you. I mean, there's no accounting for taste. Intangible storage is across the hall from the teller's den. This has got the headless flesh golem in it. Let's see. The headless flesh golem is the missing flesh golem from the hub, and it can be guided by the hand, and you can make it go faster if you reattach the head. So here's the mystery of the missing golem. You can find it here. We have the brilliant prison. Entrances are clogged with fallen, so you'll have to figure out how to get around them. There's white light from the mirror. Let's see, is this? There's a corpse, skeleton. Oh, and then down from there into the fallen. Oh, not down, I guess on the. I see. So not in the mundane, but just in the aberrant, we have the falling star. Fleshy tissue lines the inner walls of this gargantuan egg-shaped rock shell. In the center of the space hangs an undulating sphere of searing white light. Very creepy. And then, that's it. And then the aftermath. I'm actually going to finish this ahead of time. Well, I'll probably go back through and look at a few things. So here we go. The aftermath of the adventure. As long as Email is able, they keep repairing and making aberrant mirrors. If even one mirror remains intact, the Hashara continue to enter the mundane world, eventually becoming a permanent addition. The fallen never truly die. The temple must be sealed to contain it. If the PCs take no steps to contain the fallen, it spreads past the reaches of the temple and can never be fully quelled. The process accelerates if the PCs trade, lose, or misuse the Bell of World Polyphony. If the PCs figure out how to activate the sphere in the fallen star and deal with the fallen inside, they may journey to worlds orbiting their own stars. So look at that. We definitely get some, dare we say, a little bit of an alternative if you want to do some spell jamming and you don't want to deal with ships. Or you want to deal with ships, but maybe your party's in a spot where there are no ships around here. Well, here's one. You can figure out a scenario in which case they could use this as an entryway into kind of planet surfing. We also have some more ideas for how you might basically take this adventure and fit it into your campaign. If the fallen are kind of creeping out, then maybe someone's tasked you with seeing the fallen back to their source and trying to fix it. That could be another adventure seed. Someone saying the local, that they're starting to be seen. Let's say, right, the adventure takes place in the center of a dried lake bed. Perhaps they're starting to creep out of that dried lake bed. Perhaps there are settlements that are on the edges of this dried lake bed. They're starting to get there. Someone's been notified, and someone starts ringing that bell or ringing the call for adventurers. Hey, there's weird things are coming, and we can see they're coming out of this hole in the middle of this lake. We need you to go seal it back in somehow. And then also the same thing with the Hashara. That could also be either one of those or both of them could be different things that might need to be taken care of. You can even have it be two different elements of an adventure hook, almost like, someone's having trouble with the Hashara, but then over here the Fallen are giving them trouble, but they kind of lead to the same spot, which is this particular donjon. And then we've got special thanks and some wandering encounters. So we get Cecil, Doppelgooper, email, a ghoul Doppelgooper, some ghouls, some Hashara, some skeletons, some of the fallen, and an Ubel fallen. And then let's see, roll a 2d6. And you could have I like this, a swarm of terrified rats scurrying away from another encounter. Roll again or choose. I like that. That's a nice atmospheric kind of thing. I do like email. I feel like email is the unsung hero of this mission. I think I would want to have a lot of fun with email showing up. I'd probably have just email just show up like a round or two after the PCs have done something, especially if it's violent and breaks anything. Just show up and email just be there. Just, it gives out some real Marvin the robot vibes from Hitchhiker's Guide. I could see, shaking his head. Oh, never mind me fixing mirrors. I'll just be over here cleaning up your mess, kind of thing. Oh, directsun said they really wanted to write Doppelgooler, but they were. You should have gone with a Doppelgooler. Would have been great. Oh, can you imagine? It's like that's got some real like Predator versus Alien vibes. So then you get Predator aliens and things that would Doppelgooler. You got to revisit Doppelgooler. Maybe in the next adventure. And then let's see. Oh, poor Cecil. He's also a Doppelgooper, right? Trying to run to his party. No good. And this is kind of cool. 3D4 skeletons fleeing the ghouls in the hidden crypt. You don't really think of undead really showing fear. So it's certainly interesting that skeletons are running away from the ghouls. So what did skeletons have to run away from the ghouls for? You'd think, because I imagine ghouls eat flesh. Skeletons don't have any. You'd think they would just be like, oh, what are you going to do? Gnaw on my bones? But maybe that's exactly it. Maybe the ghouls are like, yes, we will gnaw on your bones. And so then they're like, all right, we're out of here. Rather hang out with email. Keep our bones clean. Ooh, look at this one. Frothy puddle of eyeballs and sick that bubbles and smokes as it transforms into the fallen. That is wonderfully evocative and gross. And there we have the back cover. At the bottom of an ancient temple, beyond the mirror's edge, lies the spot where reality was sundered. Fortune and power await those who learn its secrets. Fate worse than death is reserved for those who fail. You've come to plunder the temple between worlds and gaze into its aberrant reflections. Yep, really good stuff. Of course, I haven't run it, so I don't know what problems may arise by running it, but it reads very well. It's very neat. I have to say the having the purple text, and I don't know, and I can't say I don't know if directsun if you did anything because I'm not colorblind, so I don't know if there's any color blindness. If someone's watching this later, suffers from color blindness, I don't know if there's enough. However that works, I don't think if purple is usually a color that people have trouble with, but that's what I don't know. But I really appreciate having at least from someone who has no problem with color blindness anyway, being able to quickly see, oh, what's in the aberrant, what's in the mundane world, because that's the thing that's going to be the trick when you're running this dungeon, right? Because you're going to have to keep in mind that there are basically two parallel rooms, and you're going to have to remember what the party has, what they're capable of when they enter a certain room. Or, do they see the stuff that's happening in the aberrant, or can they react? Can they interact with that? Do they have the tools to interact with it yet? If so, what tools do they have? How can they do it? You really have to keep track of these differences. Things are turned. Which things have turned? Have you matched up positioning like with those statues? Other things are going on. Have you pulled the lever on one side to open something on another side? Right, there are all these considerations. So it really is. It necessitates that the layout be very clear about the different these two world states that kind of combine together. And I think this does now. Having not obviously when you get into playing it, you'd want to keep notes or something. You want to keep good notes. You're running this over multiple sessions over what's been interacted with, what hasn't, what is the current state of different rooms in the different things. So you want to keep track of that somehow. But in terms of being able to see it visually, I think the color does an excellent job. And then the illustrations is great because they are able to use it, thinking, it's a great idea. I think, oh man, why doesn't everybody do something like this? Of course, most places don't need it, but having that color differentiation show up in the illustrations to again show visually, hey, this is in the aberrant versus this is in the mundane world is great. And I really like the puzzles. They're all things that make sense in terms of kind of what you think about things. Even the things with the statues kind of play into your adventuring tropes already, just with a twist. I know my party, if they ever enter a room with a statue or something, they're always looking for, can we turn it, twist it, move it up or down, do that. So this just adds that wrinkle to, well, sure, it turns, but then maybe it affects something in the world you're in, or it affects something on the other side, and you got to kind of figure out those relationships. You get some nice critters. The fallen are great. The various stages of the fallen with the goopers are great. Uh, I love email. Email is my favorite, just in terms of I could just see a lot of fun, a lot of comic relief. Oh, this room's great. This one in particular, I don't know, this illustration just grabs me because it really highlights all that stuff I've been saying about showing you the two versions of the world, showing you how they look. You can easily, clearly see right away which one's representing which. And that's also matches up with the text, matches up with the map, all using that same. It's nice. It's nice. And just to say again, I really appreciate having the page numbers by the rooms. Even though it's not a super long book, so it's not like you're going through hundreds of pages, still, it's nice. It's nice. And the illustrations are great. Who did the illustrations in here, by the way? Let me just see. Illustrations, where is it? Interior art by Del Tiegler, Jacob Fleming, Luke Broderick, and Carol Changoff. Hopefully, I didn't butcher anybody's names. And they all look good because I wouldn't necessarily have thought, oh, this is all by different people. I mean, you can see some different things stylistically, but they all fit together really well. An excellent package. I don't have a physical book at the moment. I'm not sure, Direct Sun, maybe if you're still here, you can chime in. Are these already when's the print on demand? I'm assuming you're doing print on demand through drive through, or if you're doing it through um some other means, let me know. So I'm not sure when this is. I'm not sure when the digitally you can already pick it up on drive through, but I'm not sure when if you want a print copy when it will be available. But I'm guessing pretty soon. But there it is, Aberrant Reflections. Here we can take another look at the Temple of the Fallen Star, and this map makes so much more sense now that. I think when I was looking at it at first, I don't even know if I mentioned it, but I was thinking, what does that purple do? What's that purple? Like, why is some stuff in purple? But now it all makes sense. And you can see it's not a super huge dungeon. It's not like it's like a million rooms or anything, but all the rooms. This is what I really like too, just in general, is you don't need more rooms than you need. Like he probably could have filled this up with a whole bunch of empty rooms, this, that, and the other. But why? If they don't really serve a purpose and you can't think of anything cool to do with them, don't just put them in just so you can have like a 60 room page count. Like it doesn't matter. Having these few rooms means that you can really give them a lot of character, put a lot of thought into them. They can all have names that can kind of be meaningful. No extra rooms, just have extra rooms. Direct Sun says that. Okay, February estimated physical print available, no print on demand. Okay, so in a couple months, Direct Sun, let me know so I can just ping people and let them know when print copies will be available. Are you doing those through what merchant or what service? Are you doing it through your own site? Where will these physical prints be available through? Are you doing Exalted Funeral or Lulu, or I don't really know all the different ones. So other than that, anything while I wait for that answer, anybody have anything else before I call this a stream? Thanks again to Direct Sun for letting me go through this. I wish I'd had this like a week or two ago because I would have put my party through it because I was in a I needed a dungeon and this size would have worked really well. It would have worked super well for me, but I didn't have it. I'll have to wait for the next one. Maybe I'll do that because I could just imagine all the mischief. I feel like my party wouldn't get the most mischief. It would be my mischief. They would be getting into my mischief in this dungeon. Alrighty, folks. Well, listen, you might be watching this ages from now, and so this will not matter. But for those of us who are here in the now, it is almost Christmas, December 22nd, Thursday even. I believe I will be streaming tomorrow. You never know, but my plan is to stream tomorrow. But if you don't, or if I don't see you or talk to you tomorrow and through the weekend, I would love you to have a Merry Christmas or Happy Hanukkah or whichever holiday that you are celebrating. If you are celebrating no holiday at all, then please just have a fun and joyous time. I appreciate you. I'm sure you have other folks in your life who appreciate you. So enjoy them, enjoy your time. As Rexon says, now I have this in my DM pocket for another time. Absolutely. They will be running into this. My party will, oh, the like I said, I will have mischief. They might not, but I will. Happy holidays, everybody. Game on, and I will talk to you later. Thanks, Direct Sun, and bye, everybody.